Hello, Falkirk. I'm Jane from Glasgow, but I used to work in Falkirk many moons ago. I hadn't planned to speak this morning, but as those of you who've had the misfortune of meeting me before know, I'm a bit of a gobby so-and-so. So the opportunity to have something to say, then I just can't let it go. So what I really want to, I think, talk about today is children and education. And particularly in the context of this week in Glasgow, that the delightful Glasgow City Council have just announced the LGBTQIA plus alphabeti training going into a primary school in Castlemilk. For those of you not familiar with Glasgow and not familiar with its housing estates, let me tell you that Castlemilk is one of, unfortunately several, but one of the most deprived housing estates in Glasgow. So somebody talked earlier, sorry, I can't remember who it was, but earlier on today, talked about the crisis in Scotland in terms of the well-being of our children and families and the return of horrendous diseases like rickets. So in a housing scheme where we have children and families living in poverty, living without adequate resources, anybody who's ever been to Castlemilk will know that services and resources and facilities are a wee bit thin on the ground up there, and the services and resources that our children and families need in areas like Castlemilk is absolutely not the services and resources that are telling our little boys and girls that they are born in the wrong body, that they are not entitled to grow up to be gay and lesbian young people, gay and lesbian adults, that they are to be transed into something else, that they've to be have their bodies mutilated, they've to take lifelong drugs that will leave them sterile, and that is the being kind agenda. I'm sorry, but that is not being kind. That is abuse. It is absolute abuse. My professional background, I don't know whether I should really admit it here, but my professional background was as a child protection social worker. I'm in the fortunate position now of being retired. So like somebody else said earlier on, I have no worries about being anonymous. I am not anonymous on social media. I'm not anonymous when I speak. I don't care whether anybody out there, what they call me, they can call me what they like, because I know I am speaking the truth. I am speaking reality. And I will not be silenced by those who wish to abuse our children. It is not safeguarding. It's a major safeguarding scandal. And one of the biggest disgraces is the professional bodies and the educators, the unions, the regulatory bodies that are captured by this ideological cult akin to a dangerous religion. And they are totally captured by that, most of them. We're seeing some little chinks in terms of, the psychology body that has now accepted that actually gender critical, in other words, real and fact and evidence-based views are legitimate, and that workers are entitled to hold those views. We've got social workers, particularly down in England, less so here at the minute in Scotland, but in England, being disciplined and sanctioned by their employers, by their professional and regulatory bodies for speaking up in defence of safeguarding children. How, in any reality, can that be wrong. It cannot be wrong. It isn't wrong. We have a duty to our children to keep them safe and protected. If a child can be born, if a male child can be born in a female body and vice versa, how can a white person not be born in a black person's body? How come a disabled person can't be born in an able-bodied person's body? It's utterly ludicrous. It's so stupid that you just can't make sense of it. So, our children in Glasgow and elsewhere in Scotland, we have to keep them safe. We will not sit back and allow the biggest child safeguarding scandal of our century, this current century, go without being challenged. We must keep our children safe. We must be out there protesting at all the council meetings. They can call us what we like. We are defending our children. We are not bigots. We're not racists. We're not fascists. We're not Nazis. We're defending children, keeping our children safe. Stop transing children. It is abuse.